Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So do me a favor before we dive into these topics. If you end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We're starting here talking about Nixxes software. This is one of the newly acquired or more recently acquired PlayStation studios, and how they seem to confirm that they are working on remasters for PlayStation. This is pretty interesting because as far as we are aware, Nixxes software was only ever to work on PC ports of PlayStation titles, but apparently that's not the case. Coming from WCCF Tech, Nixxes software was featured in a brief yet interesting video profile posted yesterday on PlayStation's YouTube channel. Lead engineer Cohen Frauenfelder revealed that the studio is now working more and more on creating remastered versions of existing games. What we provide for PlayStation Studios is high-quality PC ports, and we are also working more and more on creating remasters. We do not create full-blown games, but we focus on specializing in those specific areas. So yeah, this is something that I don't think many people picked up on. Understandably, it was just kind of, said very quickly in this little video, but it's definitely interesting because I will tell you that I honestly wasn't expecting to ever get anything from Nixxes software other than just PC ports, but, they say it clear as day here. I guess at this point we just have to wonder which remaster are they working on. I've seen some people saying maybe they're doing Bloodborne, but who knows? So figured I would just let you guys know about that. Moving on to the next topic, we are getting some way, according to Phil Spencer. I think we've been a little unclear on what platforms it will launch on, given how far out the game is. He said, it's difficult for us right now to nail down exactly what platforms that game will launch on. As I said with Elder Scrolls 6, it's so far out, it's hard to understand what the platforms will even be at this point. It's the same team that's finishing Starfield, which comes out this September. So yeah, this is something that is still being talked about and is obviously relevant because of this case going on. And, we'll see, man. Maybe Phil Spencer's telling the truth. Maybe he's not. If I had to give my intuitive reaction to this, it's telling me that The Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to release on PlayStation 5. I think Phil Spencer probably knows that, but I think he also knows that he can get away right now with saying that we don't know because it's so far away. Who knows what could change? But yeah, I'm very much of the belief that the plan is to make the Elder Scrolls 6 exclusive to Xbox. Apparently, they also said the same thing for the Outer Worlds 2. I want to mention that as well. When they brought up the Outer Worlds 2, they did say they're still undecided on whether or not there's going to be a PS5 version. Again, we're talking about a game that I feel like is still kind of far enough away that they can get away with saying that, where maybe, but again, if I had to guess, I'm assuming the Outer Worlds 2 will not release on PlayStation 5, but there you go. Figured I'd give you that update. Something else we're also learning during this court battle is that the PlayStation 6 and the next generation Xbox are apparently going to release in 2028. Microsoft has shared what it believes is the expected PlayStation 6 and next generation Xbox release date window. This little tidbit was found in court documents that followed yesterday's showdown between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard and the FTC. And so according to Microsoft, the PlayStation 6 and next generation Xbox consoles should launch by 2028. The company is talking about the next gen consoles release window because of the 10-year Call of Duty contract that Sony refuses to sign, much to Microsoft's dismay. So yeah, this is something that I don't think is shocking. I think if you were to ask most people who kind of follow, console generations and their cycles, when exactly the PlayStation 6 would release, I think most people would say maybe 2027, 2028, maybe even 2029. I think 2028 sounds more reasonable for the simple fact that apparently Sony is doing a PlayStation 5 Pro, which is rumored to come out late next year. So that would mean the PS5 Pro comes out at the midway point, 4 years of the generation, if the PlayStation 6 is in fact planned for 2028. So yeah, it's not necessarily like an official date. I don't think either Sony nor Microsoft have it nailed down exactly, but there you go. That's what Microsoft is saying anyway. Moving on from that, Phil Spencer says he will do whatever it takes to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Once again, from PlayStation Lifestyle, Xbox has been persistent in saying that it wants to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, and now Xbox CEO Phil Spencer has committed to that under oath during the Federal Trade Commission hearing. According to IGN, Phil Spencer was once again asked about the shooter series and doubled down when reminded that he was under oath. "I would raise my hand," said Spencer. "I will do whatever it takes. We have no plan. I'm making a commitment standing here that we will not pull Call of Duty. It is my testimony from PlayStation. Sony obviously has to allow us to ship the game on their platform, but absent any of that, my commitment is, and my testimony is, that we will continue to ship future versions of Call of Duty on Sony's PlayStation 5. Spencer did say PlayStation the first time, but then specified PlayStation 5 the second time. It's unclear if this is a slip-up or if he was being cheeky and only committing to the current PlayStation hardware, and anything after that would not have the same guarantee. The Verge also had a longer quote from Spencer. "I think, as we've seen even in preparation for this, that gamers are an active and vocal group. Us pulling Call of Duty from PlayStation, in my view, would create irreparable harm for the Xbox brand," said Spencer. He also responded to claims that Microsoft could sabotage Call of Duty on PlayStation systems by saying that building a high-quality game for Xbox and building somehow a lower-quality game on PlayStation would hurt Microsoft's reputation and finances. So, yeah, this is something that I don't necessarily think is surprising, but, you know, a lot of people are taking this as Phil Spencer's, like, very serious, you know, under oath way of swearing that he's not going to pull PlayStation. I will say it is very interesting to me that at the end he says we will continue to ship future versions of Call of Duty on Sony's PlayStation 5, and he didn't say PlayStation. So I don't know. It's really just, it could just be something where that's just what he said. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like this, we always have to kind of be a little bit more careful about the wording because it's likely very intentional. But he does say at the beginning that they're not going to pull Call of Duty from PlayStation. So, you know, does that mean that they're going to make the decision that they're only going to ship Call of Duty on the PlayStation 5, but not the PlayStation 6? Technically, that could happen based off of what Phil Spencer just said here. So, and he technically wouldn't be lying. So I don't know. Maybe we're looking into that too much. But either way, seems like they have no intention of actually pulling it. But the final topic here comes from Push Square. It says at the beginning of the generation, there were rumors that Sony was acting incredibly aggressively, attempting to sign console exclusives with as many publishers as possible. Ultimately, we've seen evidence of that with the likes of Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo, and recently Final Fantasy XVI. In the FTC's ongoing court case against Microsoft as it seeks to temporarily halt the trillion-dollar tech giant's $69 billion acquisition of Activision, chatty Xbox executive Phil Spencer alleged that one of his company's motivations for buying Bethesda was to block Sony from securing console exclusivity on Starfield. When we acquired Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax, one of the impetus for that was that Sony has done a deal for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo and effectively paid Bethesda to not ship those games on Xbox. So the discussion about Starfield when we heard that it was potentially also going to end up skipping Xbox was we cannot be in a position as a third-place console where we fall further behind. This is exactly what Phil Spencer said. Spencer didn't bring any receipts, so it's unclear what kind of information his company was acting on, although seeing as this isn't the first time we've heard the story, it's probably safe to assume Sony really was in negotiations regarding console exclusivity for Starfield. So yeah, this was certainly one of the more interesting things we learned from Phil Spencer when talking about this, because it basically does confirm that rumor we heard a while ago where Sony was trying to secure Starfield as a PS5 console exclusive. And it's just wild to think that if Sony was able to do that, we could potentially be in a scenario right now where Starfield launches exclusively on PS5, and then maybe like a year later it launches on Xbox. But the reverse ultimately happened. Microsoft bought Bethesda, and the rest is history. We know Starfield is coming exclusively to Xbox. But yeah, I think that this is a pretty strong statement from Phil Spencer and Microsoft, making it clear that they were pretty much fed up with Sony and them constantly striking deals, and they decided to basically one-up them and say, you know what, we're not even going to strike a deal, we're not even going to double the offer, we're just going to straight up buy the company and own it and make sure that at the very least Starfield doesn't release on PS5. So yeah, definitely a power play by Microsoft there. And I think again that this just kind of, Phil Spencer talking about this in this way, I think it just clearly paints the picture that Microsoft is out here to really try to, not just compete with Sony in a serious way, but make sure that, we are going to, we're going to be very aggressive ourselves, like highly, highly aggressive. So yeah, there you go. That's all the news I have for you guys today. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you found it informative. Again, if you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.